Have you ever witnessed a courtroom turn into a full-fledged crime scene? That's what happened when Bambi was handcuffed during the hearing, similar to a BET Awards after-party gone wrong. The charge of fabricating a pregnancy was recorded on a leaked audio tape, and what exposed her was her voice saying, "No, I have never been pregnant, I just needed leverage. Scrappy had to pay somehow." The judge dropped the gavel so hard that the microphone almost cut out Stevie J, who leaned back and smirked. The streets are now asking, how deep was the lie? And what was she really trying to hide? As if he knew that day would arrive, Scrappy, that man, collapsed in his seat, face pale, hands shaking, and the bailiff didn't hesitate. He stood up, turned around, and put his hands behind your back. In that moment, everything fell apart, and Bambi's glam vanished, her image shattered, and she's no longer popular because of a Fashion Nova haul. They say that lies eventually catch up with you. But in Bambi's case, the lie did more than just catch her. It chased her down, tackled her in front of everyone, and slapped handcuffs on her wrists. It began like any other messy day in court, with drama inside and Scrappy pacing like a man who had already lost everything twice. However, no one, not even Stevie J or the media, anticipated that the judge would call for a hearing. Recess only to return with a flash drive wrapped in chain of custody. Let's back up, because what led to this moment wasn't just one lie, but a carefully constructed illusion and storyline that Bambi clung to like it was a lifeline, pulling everyone down with her. This wasn't just about pregnancy, though. It was about survival manipulation and warfare inside the family courtroom. Months ago, when Bambi claimed she was expecting Scrappy's child, the courtroom shifted and sympathy went to her. Scrappy was already having difficulty proving he wasn't because you don't cross a pregnant woman, the villain got steamrolled. However, behind the scenes, something was going on. Scrappy's legal team had been quietly gathering doubts about inconsistent ultrasound dates and no OBGYN records filed. Private investigators even tracked her medical visits, but none of them matched her testimony. Until yesterday, however, they had nothing solid. Enter the voice memo, an anonymous tip sent directly to Scrappy's. The voice is unquestionably Bambi's. Her inflection, her phrasing, even the casual arrogance in how she plotted the entire deception, it was all there. But here's where it gets crazy. The audio wasn't just played in court, it was broadcast in the courtroom. The lawyer's inbox was untraceable, time-stamped, and chilling. "Girl, I'm not really pregnant. I just need this judge to swing my way. Once the check clears, I'll be devastated. Cry in the courtroom, boom. Sympathy secured, Scrappy won't even know what hit him." Monsieur Richardson, before I ask you to confirm this voice is yours, I want you to understand the severity of what we're about to do, Judge Monroe remarked, pausing for impact and glancing directly at Bambi. Scrappy's face went white, his palm clenched, so tightly on the pen that it shattered, and suddenly the gavel dropped. This court finds immediate grounds to detain Ms. Richardson pending trial. Bambi didn't speak, not because she was innocent, but because she didn't have an opportunity to fake her way out. A perjury and fraud hearing. Gasps. Audible gasps. Stevie J turned around, whispered something into his assistant's ear, and grinned. "Turn around. Hands behind your back." Bambi's reaction was a complete meltdown, screaming, crying, and shouting. That she was set up, that was a trap, and that Stevie J was behind it all. However, the tape didn't lie, and no matter how many designer tears you shed, fraud is still fraud. The whole gestation? Bambi didn't respond because she was too busy, getting on a cruise ship and being feisty. He didn't boast or clap back. Instead, he just sat there inconsolable because, despite not being in handcuffs, he was the one who was deceived on national television. However, this story is only beginning because no one knows, not even the judge, that the true reason that the flash drive was submitted wasn't when Bambi was in handcuffs. The room turned towards Stevie J, who was actually not supposed to be there that day. But he was standing there in a clean suit with a smug smile, standing just far enough in the courtroom to be seen but not yet held accountable. It seemed as though he had planned the entire thing because the flash drive didn't come from Scrappy's team. Rather, it came from a Stevie J himself hired a private investigator weeks ago, not to help Scrappy or protect Bambi, but to save himself. Because his name kept coming up too frequently for comfort in text threads during court testimony and in rumors about private hotel meetings. In Bambi's own words, he said he would protect me if I remained silent, and that's what Stevie J wanted. to erase. However, Stevie made a crucial error. He believed that by providing the court with the voice memo, he would appear to be the hero, a whistleblower, a man clearing someone else's mess. The second bombshell was that the entire courtroom now had two liars, not just Bambi for lying under oath, but also Stevie J for possibly plotting to conceal the deception. Just when you thought the drama had reached its climax, Judge Monroe ordered the flash drive to be played again. It was Bambi's words after she faked the pregnancy claim. "I'm not worried about Stevie. He'll deny it as always. He even got his lawyer ready if anything leaks. He said he'd make it disappear." Boom. This time, the full uncut file lasted for 5 more minutes. During those 5 minutes, they destroyed any remaining credibility Stevie had because, out of nowhere, a lady sobbing said, "I can't go through with this. I didn't know he'd use my ultrasound." The voice wasn't Bambi's, but Stevie's. Then there was stillness, followed by a whisper in Stevie's distinctive voice. "No one will be able to tell it's a fake, so just sign the paperwork, and I'll wire you 10 racks and an out-of-state airfare." And not only was Bambi lying about being pregnant, but Stevie J was allegedly funding the cover-up by using someone else's falsified and forged medical records. Gasps flew across the courtroom like bullets, and Scrappy's mother, Mama D, had to be escorted out because she began screaming from the back row. She had been acting like a puppet for my son, and that man Stevie had been in her ear from day one. Security attempted to calm her down, but let's face it, the damage was done. It got worse when, while Bambi was getting booked downtown, Scrappy's lawyer filed an emergency request to reverse all previous financial obligations granted under false testimony. This means that every dollar Scrappy was ordered to pay was paid back. The footage is now part of the official court record, the "I like Sunday gossip at the beauty salon." Outside, fans and bloggers flocked to the courthouse. One fan held a sign. Was supposed to be a paternity hearing, a last chance to get clarity, not a front row seat to a live-action scandal going out of control. And then, in the moment no one saw coming, VH1 executives entered the building. Yes, that's true. They weren't there for drama, but rather for legal exposure, because guess what? They aired scenes based on Bambi's fake pregnancy. If it's proven in court, Scrappy didn't look victorious. Instead, he looked hollow. One executive was heard muttering, "Pull the season from streaming platforms immediately," indicating that the producers knew it was a fake, but nevertheless filmed it for financial gain. This might be considered network-level fraud. However, too late. TikTok was already sharing clips of Bambi sobbing while holding her tummy during interviews where she blamed Scrappy, with the description, "Fake baby, real lies, Emmy-worthy betrayal." And just when things got even more crazy, Bambi's attorney attempted to claim that the voice memo was, he stood there, perspiring through his shirt, and said, "There is growing concern about the rise of AI and audio manipulation. We believe this recording may have been altered or created using advanced voice cloning technology." The judge wasn't amused, noting, "Unless you're ready to submit an expert witness to testify to that claim, save the TikTok theories for social media." Boom, denied, and the case was officially dismissed. Moved into a full-fledged criminal fraud investigation. So where is Stevie J now? He is backstage avoiding questions from paparazzi, but according to people close to him, his lawyer is putting together a defense that says Stevie acted under duress and was influenced by Bambi's emotional state. One insider claimed he is already blaming her, saying she was obsessed with pretending to be pregnant to get attention, and he tried to leave but got caught up in the classic deflection of Stevie. Now, fans are split, with half of Twitter dragging. A sealed document labeled Exhibit G was just presented to the judge, and according to sources, it contains surveillance footage from inside Stevie J's Miami penthouse from the exact week the ultrasound photo was dated. Guess who's on camera? Not Bambi, not Scrappy, but another woman who isn't clearly identified. Stevie for being the puppet master behind a sick lie. The other half is accusing Bambi of using womanhood as a weapon to ruin a man's life. And just when you thought this scandal had reached its zenith, the courtroom exploded again. The prosecution's lead investigator stood up and said 6 words that changed everything. "We have the original phone recording." The stenographer even blinked. The judge hasn't been able to unseal the tape yet, but once he does, every dollar, every episode, and every lie could fall apart at once. Twice, a courtroom tech wheeled in a laptop that was plugged into the state-provided drive, and then, the next file made the entire room freeze. It was a second voice, purportedly a whisper from Bambi's friend saying, "You going to keep this up forever? What if they ask for proof?" I told him I was pregnant because he was threatening to cut me off. I needed time, I needed money, and I knew Scrappy would fold the second he heard baby. The judge removed his glasses and looked at the floor. Stevie J grinned like the antagonist in a soap opera finale. Scrappy didn't even look anymore. He looked hollow and betrayed on a level that felt deeper than court and deeper than lies and more profound than reality TV ever showed us. You know Scrappy too well. He's weak. He wants to be needed. This baby lie is my insurance. Deception under sworn testimony. This court will now consider formal charges for obstruction of justice, fraud, and defamation. The defendant is hereby remanded into custody while the perjury claims are fully investigated. Bambi's lawyer begged for leniency, saying that she was in emotional distress, felt alone, and didn't want to lose her family, but the judge showed no sympathy. You made this court look foolish, claiming that you tried to manipulate and weaponize motherhood. Legal actions to keep control of another person's money, reputation, and sanity. That is not only unethical, it's illegal. Boom. Another gavel slam reporters rushed out to update headlines in real time. TMZ didn't even wait for closing remarks. Blogs, live streamers, gossip channels, everyone had the headline within seconds. Bambi's arrested pregnancy hoax exposed in court. Let's talk about the repercussions. First, not only because they are. Third, Stevie J's team posted a mysterious Instagram story immediately following the hearing saying, "Don't play with legends, especially not pregnant." People lost it, memes exploded, reaction videos racked, up hundreds of thousands of views within hours, and everyone from the network cannot afford another PR meltdown tied to false medical claims, especially one tied to legal fallout. The real one, the fake one, and the second, Mona Scott Young, the mastermind behind Love and Hip Hop, allegedly pulled Bambi from all pending storylines. Did Bambi just end career over a lie? Asked podcast hosts and high school Twitter trolls. She really tried to baby trap Scrappy and got trapped by the court instead. Instead, Bambi faked a pregnancy like it was a tax deduction. And then came the bigger shock. Courtroom footage was leaked. Yes, the audio showed her being arrested, complete with tears and an unsuccessful attempt to explain that the officer was holding her by the arm as she sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to go this far, I just wanted him to stay," she said. Not to mention the third-party fallout, Erica Dixon, Scrappy's ex-partner, allegedly shared a now-deleted tweet that said, "Karma knows addresses of all of them." Even Rashidita Frost couldn't stay quiet. During her boutique live stream, she sipped tea casually and remarked, "Some people forget this isn't reality TV. It's reality court. Boom bars." Fans began analyzing previous episodes in search of hints, observing Bambi's body language in moments where she sobbed, clutched her stomach, or whispered about hospital visits. An online petition to permanently ban cast members who fabricate pregnancy narratives for sympathy and attention has amassed over 50,000 signatures. But let's go back to Scrappy, because that man, in spite of everything, the embarrassment, the lies, and the fact that she is rubbing her stomach in one episode and dancing at a party with a cocktail in another, was filmed the same week. He left the courtroom in tears with no shouting, no tweets, no press releases, just him and his mother holding a folded piece of paper. Some claim it was the custody paperwork, while others claim it was a letter from Scrappy to his daughter outlining everything that transpired. We may never know, but we do know that was more than just a scandal, not just clickbait, and it was a nuclear implosion of trust manipulation. Let that sink in. Bambi went from influencer to prisoner in less than a month. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more crazy, we're hearing that there's another tape that purports to link Bambi's entire plan to a producer who pushed the lie for drama. If that tape turns up, Mona Scott's empire could be the next to go. So hold on tight, because this fake pregnancy scandal isn't finished yet. In fact, it may have just begun. What the tapes and the courtroom chaos? Is this really the end of Bambi's reign of reality? Or is this part of a larger, darker story that is about to blow up? Let's face it, no one saw coming. One minute she was drinking green juice on Instagram, and the next she was being handcuffed in court for a fictitious pregnancy. Scrappy lost his entire piece, and if that second tape is real, we mean real, then Mona Scott Sis had better call in backup. Empire may implode more quickly than Bambi's reputation, but now we're looking at you. Do you think Bambi had this planned from the beginning? Was it a desperate attempt to gain attention and control for a plot? Or was she just another character in Mona's twisted circus that had to perform until the curtain fell? And now for the bigger question. Should networks be held responsible for airing fictitious pregnancies knowing that millions of viewers think they're real? Leave your most outrageous theory in the comments section. Other people pulling the strings. Hit the like button if you feel like karma came quickly, share this video, and remember to subscribe because, baby, if this is how the season begins, just think of how it will end. There will be tape tantrums and takedowns, and I promise you don't eye to miss what's coming up next.